A scream tore through the jungle. On the edge of a steep cliff, a young traveler named Lucas struggled in the crushing coils of a giant python. The snake tightened, its scales glinting in the sun, every loop pressing harder against his chest. Air vanished from his lungs. His fingers clawed at the slick body, but the grip only grew stronger. One slip, and he would plunge into the abyss. From the bushes came a heavy rumble. A massive shadow emerged, an enormous silverback gorilla, its dark eyes fixed on the scene, its chest heaving. Lucas gasped, soil crumbling beneath his boots. His heart thundered louder than the jungle's silence. The gorilla let out a deep roar that shook the trees. Birds scattered. The python froze for a heartbeat, then hissed, refusing to release its prey. Its muscles flexed like steel cables, bones creaking inside Lucas's body. The two animals locked eyes. Predator versus giant. The gorilla slammed its fists against its chest, the sound echoing like thunder across the valley. Lucas dangled dangerously close to the edge, his vision blurring, breath shallow. The gorilla advanced, each step sinking into the dirt, its roar growing louder. The python lifted its head, jaws wide, daring the challenge. Lucas felt the ground give way under his heel. Pebbles tumbled into the void. His scream ripped the air. In a burst of power, the gorilla lunged forward. At the same instant, the python dragged Lucas toward the cliff. Rocks split, the earth cracked. His body tilted into nothingness. And just as he began to fall, a massive hand, or was it a paw, snatched him from the edge. Lucas dangled above the abyss, his body half dragged by the python, half held by the gorilla's powerful grip. His lungs burned, his ribs screamed in pain. The gorilla snarled, muscles bulging as it pulled him back from the cliff's edge. But the snake refused to surrender. Its coils dug deeper, its hiss slicing through the air. The jungle erupted with sound, branches snapping, birds shrieking, the clash of primal force. Lucas's vision flickered between light and blackness. He heard the gorilla's growl rumble through his bones. With a violent tug, the gorilla yanked him free from the edge. The python countered, twisting, anchoring its tail around a rock. Lucas felt his body torn between two titans. His chest was a vise of scales, his arm nearly wrenched from its socket. The gorilla roared louder, a sound of pure defiance. It grabbed the python's midsection with one massive hand. The snake writhed, striking at the gorilla's face, fangs flashing. Lucas felt the hot rush of air as jaws snapped inches from his skin. The gorilla slammed its fist against the snake's body. The impact vibrated through Lucas, loosening one coil. He gasped, the first breath of air searing his throat. But the python only tightened again, furious, its strength unbroken. Lucas coughed, choking, vision swimming. His mind screamed, "Not enough! It's not enough!" He felt the gorilla's grip shift, a sudden surge of force pulling both man and snake away from the cliff. They crashed against the ground, dirt flying, stones scattering. For a brief second, Lucas was free from the edge, but not from the python. Its coils still strangled him, and now the gorilla was locked in a deadly struggle. The gorilla's eyes burned with determination. It pried at the snake, muscles straining, veins like ropes. The python hissed, body thrashing, tail whipping the ground like a whip crack. Lucas, pinned between them, realized something terrifying. The snake's head was turning, angling not at the gorilla, but at him. Its jaws opened wide, fangs gleaming, and in that instant the gorilla let go of Lucas entirely, to strike. The gorilla's arm shot forward, its massive hand clamped around the python's head, just as the fangs lunged for Lucas's throat. The snake thrashed violently, its body a steel rope squeezing tighter around Lucas's chest. He wheezed, ribs creaking, lungs begging for air. The gorilla roared, the sound shaking the ground. With one heave, it yanked the snake upward, dragging Lucas with it. Dirt and leaves flew as the jungle exploded into chaos. Lucas's vision blurred. He heard nothing but the pounding of blood in his ears and the guttural rage of the gorilla. The python wrapped tighter, desperate, its tail lashing, cracking branches like whips. Lucas's eyes rolled back. He could no longer fight. Only the gorilla stood between him and death. With a violent swing, the gorilla smashed the snake's head against the ground. The impact was brutal, but the python still refused to release its prey. Its coils squeezed harder, every muscle fighting to the death. Lucas gasped, a broken sound. His chest felt crushed, bones straining. He was seconds from collapse. The gorilla struck again, and again. Each blow thundered like drumbeats of survival. Dust and stones scattered. The jungle trembled. Finally, one coil loosened. Lucas dragged in a ragged breath, pain tearing through his lungs. But the snake wasn't done. It whipped its body around the gorilla's arm, anchoring itself, dragging Lucas down with it. Man and beast crashed against the dirt. The python reared back, fangs snapping toward the gorilla's face. The gorilla blocked with its massive forearm, skin tearing under sharp teeth. Blood welled, but the silverback didn't flinch. With primal fury, it seized the snake's neck in both hands and pulled. Muscles bulged, veins roared, strength against strength. The python writhed, thrashing with everything it had. Lucas could only watch through hazy eyes as two giants fought over his life. His chest heaved, every breath a razor of pain. He tried to crawl free, but the snake's coils still gripped his waist. Then, in a final desperate surge, the gorilla lifted the python off the ground, spun, and slammed it against a boulder. The sound cracked through the forest. The snake's body twisted, loosened. Lucas fell free, collapsing on the dirt. He coughed violently, clutching his chest, gulping precious air. His vision cleared just in time to see the gorilla and python still locked in battle. But something was wrong. The gorilla's strength faltered. Its chest heaved in exhaustion. The python, though wounded, coiled again, wrapping around the silverback's body. Lucas froze in horror. The beast that had saved him was now trapped. The python's coils tightened around the gorilla's ribs, its hiss louder, crueler. The giant's roar turned into a strained grunt. The silverback dropped to one knee, and in that terrible moment, Lucas realized it was his turn to act. Lucas's chest still ached, but his mind screamed, "Do something, or the gorilla dies." His eyes darted across the ground. A jagged branch lay near his hand. He grabbed it, heart pounding, and with trembling strength drove it against the python's coils. The snake hissed, scales tearing slightly, but it held tight. The gorilla grunted, struggling for breath. Lucas shouted, striking again and again. His voice cracked with fear and rage. The python turned its head toward him, jaws snapping. But that was its mistake. In that instant, the gorilla surged with one last burst of power. It ripped the coils apart, pried its chest free, and seized the snake by the neck. With a roar that echoed across the valley, the gorilla hurled the python against the boulder once more. The jungle fell silent. The snake slithered away, battered and defeated, vanishing into the undergrowth. Breathless, Lucas collapsed on the ground. His body shook with exhaustion, but his eyes never left the towering figure before him. The gorilla stood over him, chest rising and falling, blood on its arm, eyes dark yet calm. For a moment, silence bound them, man and beast, survivor and savior. Slowly, the gorilla stepped closer. Lucas flinched, uncertain. But then the giant lowered itself, meeting his gaze. Its hand, heavy and scarred, brushed the dirt beside him, not to harm, but to steady. Lucas's fear melted into awe. He whispered, voice trembling, "You saved me." The gorilla blinked, tilted its head, and released a deep, soft grunt, a sound not of threat, but of acknowledgment. Then, with surprising gentleness, it turned, walked to the cliff's edge, and glanced back once, as if ensuring Lucas was safe. In that glance, Lucas felt something unspoken, gratitude, respect, and a strange bond no words could ever explain. Tears stung his eyes. He had come close to death, yet life had been handed back to him, not by another human, but by a creature of the wild. The gorilla disappeared into the trees, leaving only the echo of its presence. Lucas lay there, chest rising slowly, the jungle's sounds returning, birds, insects, the whisper of leaves. Everything felt changed. He would never forget the moment a gorilla chose to save a man, when nature itself revealed its hidden heart. Because sometimes in the wildest places, kindness takes the most unexpected form.